Hello and welcome back. So first two videos, we went about modeling this part here, which is the cell. I've just made one small change, which is the thickness of these. I've changed it to 1 instead of 2 mm thick, so it's a bit janky. And now we're going to go ahead and make the FR4 sheet, bus bars, and the tab bars as well. And we're going to assemble all of that together now. Because I'm kind of just making this up as I go, it's going to be a little bit harder to get everything right. But I think if we go about modeling this the right way, it should be fine. So just bear with me if anything goes wrong. But anyway, let's get into it. So new part, let's go. Part FR4 sheet, I think we want to do first. What do we want to call that? Yeah, we'll just call it FR4 sheet. FR4. Now I put an underscore in here because Creo does not like spaces at all. So yeah, common name, yep, that'll do. So this is the part that the all the cells hang off. So FR4 sheet's not the proper name for it. I can't think of the name for it right now, but obviously we can just go from here. So this is FR4 name, part number what was it, like 1007 or something. Part title FR4 sheet FR4. So I can have a space in here because this just gets printed out onto the drawing. But obviously on the last sheet, I couldn't do that because that was for the actual naming convention of Creo. Anyway, let's go ahead from here. So I've got a back to here again, and I've got to make a part that's going to match this. So I've actually got no idea what the spacing and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go just tools, sorry, not tools, I want to go analysis, and that's where I can find my measure tool. So if I want to find like how long this whole cell is, click there, and then I'll hold control to here, and it's saying that's 240 wide. And I'm going to go ahead and make that 260. How wide? I don't know. I might go edit it halfway through, but I know what I'm kind of looking at the moment. So I'm going to go open up this from the top view. Let's do an extrusion. Let's go center rectangle. Done. What did we say it was? 240, 260, 260 wide. And this is supposed to be a rectangle of some sort, so I'll make it. Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll see how we go with that. Done. How thick? 3 mm, because why not? Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm going to change that back to 2 because I don't like it. 2 mm. Okay, now we want the pattern in here. So here's another part where we have to do a pattern. So we're going to go extrusion. Right one, extrusion. And I'm going to go circle. Now I'm snapping, I don't know if you can see that, but it snaps. There's a little line, a dotted line here that it shows to make sure it lines up properly. And I'm going to snap it to the same size there. Middle click to finish. Line tool, the one that you never use. From there to there, middle click, here to here, middle click again. I'm now going to get delete segment out, delete you. Really struggling seeing these dimensions here. Radius, we're going to make 4. Might go 3 actually, see how that goes. And then we want to go dimension from here to there. We want to make that, yeah, about 15 is not bad. From here to there, what was it, 260 minus 20. maybe 10. Not sure. Anyway, we're going to make this dimension here. And that part was 80, I believe. So I want to make that have space either side. 5 mil is not a lot. So I might go with 10 mil either side, and we'll just see how that goes with that. So we're going to flip that, so it's an extrusion, it's through that part, done. Awesome. Now we're going to do a pattern. So because it was already selected, I could just jump straight onto the pattern tool. Otherwise, I would have had to go select, I can go pattern from here, or come up here and press pattern. But yeah, awesome. Right, we're not going to do dimension, we're going to do direction. So one direction is going to be this way. We want 7, I think. And the second direction is going to be that way. And we're going to have 2. And that's going to be, I don't know, 180. Flip you around, you're going the wrong way. Probably like 70, no. We'll see what it looks like and we can go and edit it. Yep, that's definitely not what I want. So, edit that. So what I did there is I just clicked on the cylindrical with the pen tool, edit definition. So it's saying that this is too close. That's why it looked like one big extrusion that went across the whole thing. So it looks like these references are the center of each one. So if I go, let's go back to 140, 140. So that looks like it's slightly out too, which is not great. It's not too bad though. I haven't done any referencing for this way. But as you can see, I'm just kind of doing it on the fly. Like I've got no dimensions to work off. I'm just going to see how it works. Right, so that's done. Now I want to put in some holes for the tabs and the bus bars. So extrusion here, circle 1, circle 2. Now I think I made these to be 60 apart. I don't actually know what I made them to be, but I'm just going to make that 25, not a bit more, I think. 35, 30. And yeah, we can always go back and change these things later. So cut out that direction. What size we got? 8 mil holes. I think they're only 5 mil holes. They still look a bit close to the top there. I'm just going to finish that and then edit that. Edit definition, internal sketch, sorry. And then from here to there, it's pretty close, 6. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to change these out later, but we can just start from here. Because obviously this hole is just, you got a 5 mil hole with a 5 mil edge, or 6 mils to the edge. It's just too close. So a rule of thumb should be the center of the hole should be 1.5 times the diameter of the hole. So if you've got a 5 mil hole, you should be 2.5 plus 5 away from the edge, as a rule of thumb. Obviously this is assuming it's load bearing, which is not really, right? So it's just kind of holding the cells on there. But yeah, it's just a little bit too thin through there, which I don't like. but we'll go on anyway. It'll probably get changed as we go. I'm just going to pattern those as well. Direction, we want to go this way. Direction 2, we want to go that way. 2, what was this one, 150 or something? Flip. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think that was 20, yeah. And then we want 7 of those. No, we want 8 of those. What have I done there? 8. Cool. But yeah, obviously you can see the symmetry is kind of thrown out the door here. But we're just kind of doing a quick one here to get the idea of it. Awesome. Save that part. We are done. FR4 sheet. Now we want to build the tab bar. So this sits on the bottom of this sheet. By bottom I mean on top of it. And you'll see how it goes together. But if you know how the modules are assembled, you'll know what I'm talking about. So new part. Tab bar. Doesn't matter if I'm in caps or not because it's yeah, it'll just get reverted anyway. So what's this here? So issue, because I'm in the working directory, so because I've opened up through Creo, through the directory for all EV1 CAD, that name already exists. So obviously FR4 sheet's not the right name for this, that's why that doesn't exist as a part. I could open up EV2 and make something like this, but obviously they want to reserve those parts. So I'm just going to change that name to tab, the TAB. Let's go place a bet, boys. But obviously material, so it could be aluminium or it could be brass. I'm going to put brass down because why not? Part number B 10008 we're up to. Part title tab bar, I think it was called. Awesome. Done. And this is going to be just an extrusion. It's going to be a small block. I'm just going to go back over here and measure from here to here. 16.5, what a lovely number. And then from here to here, I think it's 80. Yeah, cool beans. So back over here, extrusion from the top. We want to go center. What was it? 16.5. Let's make it 16. 16 and length it was 80. We'll make it 10 tall. 12.5. 12.5 tall. And then we'll put our 2 holes in here too. So we go circle 1, circle 2, done. I don't recall where they sat, so I'm just going to go back over here and reference it. And see how I can't do anything? That's because I'm in the middle of doing this. So unless I have a new instance of Creo open, I can't be in the middle of doing a sketch or an extrusion until and do something else. So I'm just going to finish that up and I'll go back and edit it later. Done. Back here, measure U to control to there. So that was 20 mil from the edges. Awesome. So back to here. Edit that. I'm going to do this, edit internal sketch, because I want to change these dimension points from here to there, which is 20. From here to there. I'm not going to put that one in. I'm going to change this to be equal to that. Done. And this size was 5, I think. Real quick. Go to that. And change this to 5. Done. Bam. And the dirt is gone. Awesome. Looking good. It's still looking a bit thick, so I might take that back down to 10. Cool. Save. New part. Done. Now, assemblies. We're finally up to an assembly. So, new assembly. I'm going to call this module battery module test or something. Battery example. Module example. TLE, awesome, can spell, hopefully. So this is where you put your assembly number, assembly title, and obviously your name. This needs to be changed, so in future this probably will look exactly the same as the part one, where you make a new part. The reason being, when you make a new drawing, it pulls this data in and chucks it in. So if you're making a drawing for an assembly, it won't actually allocate any of this information to the drawing. Reason being, so this initially worked with two separate drawings, one for an assemble model and one for if you got a GA or a detailed drawing, but obviously you've got assemblies which are parts, and this is why this falls over. So I'm just going to put my name in here, but I'm going to leave the other two because they really need to be changed. So you need to chase up your chief mechanical engineer if they haven't changed this yet. But I'm going to continue on anyway. Awesome, let's go. Where are we up to? Assemble. So because I'm in this directory here, tutorial examples, it brings up all the things I'm working on at the moment. So I'm going to start with the FR4 sheet. I'm going to open it. I'm just going to press here, and since it's the first thing in the model, I'm going to go straight to default. Done. Cool. Now I'm going to assemble. I'm going to assemble tab. Open. Now, the way I'm going to assemble this is I'm going to go contact between you and you, not you, you. And it immediately says distance. No, I don't want a distance. I want it to be coincident. That means it's attached to that surface. So now I can move it around this way, and it doesn't want to go upwards. So as you can see, the arrow that points up is now phased out. I can still rotate it though, so you can let it rip if you want, but everything else is kind of locked in. The other two constraints, so I could constrain it from a distance, for instance, from this face to here, but I kind of just want these holes to line up, and that's all I really want. And I know it'll be quicker if I just do that on all of them. So I go there to there, coincident, and see how it's yellow? It's assumed that the block is now locked in place. And this is a common occurrence when you have something cylindrical matched with something else cylindrical and it's coincident, because it says, oh, I'm locked in place, but it's not actually. So it's common to trip over yourself doing something like this, because it says, I'm yellow, I am properly constrained, but you're not. So you might run into the issue where you've saved it, you've closed it, you've gone and, I don't know, built something in the workshop, come back, and then your model's broken, and it's because you haven't actually constrained this thing properly. So I'm just going to have to go up to placement. So this is where I can edit my other constraints too. As I've also mentioned this in the level 0 tutorial, I'm going to go new constraint, and I'm just going to go 1, 2. Now it is fully constrained. As you can see, the thing is a bit bigger than I kind of want it to be. So I am going to make that thinner. Now, there's two ways I can do this. I can jump straight back over here into this model on a different page, or I can do a few other things. So I can activate it. And now I'm just looking at this model here. And if I drop this down, I'm not sure if I can do this without activating it. Actually, let's run that through. So if I do that, I can go extrusion and edit that sketch here. Yeah, so I don't have to activate it. And I can also just press that and just change it on the fly. So I can just go 16, too big for me. How about 10? And cool. It looks like it hasn't changed anything. But if I go to regenerate, it'll change that for me. It does look a little bit thin and out of proportion, but we're just going to leave that there. We might make it a bit thinner actually, because it does look very chunky. And there's also another bar that sits on top here too. So yeah, I'm going to change that down to 5 mil. So I'm going to go edit this one here to 10. I'll make it 5. I'm not sure what it actually is in real life, but yeah, we'll make it 5. That looks about right. Cool. So I've assembled one part, and you're probably thinking, oh, now you've got to go assemble all these other ones. It's actually a lot easier once you've already... Those holes lining up? Interesting. Regenerate. So as you can see here, something's bugged out, and these things aren't lining up. I don't know what I've changed here. I've clearly hit the wrong button on something. That's 80 long. So I'm just going to measure. So analysis, measure. So here to here. Oh, sorry, control while you do that. And it's saying it's 60 apart. And these holes here are only, so from here to here is only 40 apart. That's a bit of an issue, isn't it? Well, let's just go open this model up and see what's going on over here. So this looks very different to the other one, which makes me wonder if it's regened incorrectly. So I'll go in here and close that. Regenerate. Maybe not. So I'm just going to... so it's better if I go into here. Extrusion. So that should be like 100, I think. Because these holes were 60 apart. I'm going to go edit internal sketch, and I'm just going to get a reference dimension between here and here. 60. Yep, okay. So now that should be fixed. Oops. It doesn't matter anyway. Just quickly save. And I'm going to just close that. Now regenerate that, and the holes now line up. So I'm just going to make sure that the placement's right on here too, because it's a bit bizarre how I was happily locked in. See, here we go. Instead of that, I want that to be coincident. Yeah, so that's my issue there. Done. Now, to do the rest of them, you might think, yep, that took a while. Now I've got to do that so many times. It doesn't actually. So if I just go assemble, it'll already have that selected. I go open. Okay, so now I go flat surface, the center of that hole. And please tell me that because of that original... it's coincident too. 1, 2, 3, coincident. Done. Now instead of pressing this tick button, I'm actually going to get a placement. I'm going to say new location. And now it's brought out another one without me having to close that out and do everything else. So I can just speed through this pretty quickly. And just smash them all out. So it's not as bad as you think it is. You might think, oh, this is going to be really repetitive, really slow, but it's not too bad. Now you could possibly do this with a pattern. I'm not sure if that is possible or not, but I wouldn't do it anyway, because when you pattern or even just mirror things, especially when it comes to assemblies, it does tend to bug out or something goes wrong. So in terms of assemblies, if there's something that's repetitive like this, I would rather spend the time making sure these all line up properly instead of doing a pattern. Because let's say you do a certain pattern, if I did the same pattern on here, unless I went into doing a parameter constraint or whatever it's called, where you set certain values to equal one another, if you're just doing basic modeling where you're not doing any of that, then it's definitely easier to just do it this way. Otherwise, you're going to just run into issues doing that sort of thing. It is possible. It is probably quicker, but for this amount, it's a bit of a hassle. But instead of taking that extra depth of modeling, we're just taking it easier and just getting the job done. So it depends on how precise or how in depth you want your model to be, really, in terms of how you model something like this. But yeah, as you can see, I'm almost done here. But the pros of doing it this way means that instead of changing something in the parameters, I can just change that base pattern where these holes are sitting, and everything else will just align with it, which is one big positive. Obviously, the same sort of thing happens with the other way, but it's kind of a little bit more work to do. So, done. Awesome. Now the fun part. So it is getting a little bit congested with the planes and axes and stuff, so you can remove those if you find it difficult. But if you are still assembling things, you probably do need some of the axes on or something. So just keep what you need, hide everything else. I don't know what's going on with these holes over here, but we're just going to leave it anyway and keep charging ahead. So I'm just going to, oops, not do that. Just going to save that. And now we're going to assemble the actual cell. This is probably the most painful part because as you can see, it kind of goes one side than the other side. But we're going to do this, same again, bottom first. How does this go? So that to here. Coincident? Yep. And then I want to go U to there. And as you can see again, it's glowing yellow when it shouldn't really be yellow. And then I'm going to do the same with that and this. I don't know how I've gotten it all terribly wrong, but I have. Interesting. I think I'm going to quickly fix that, and hopefully I've edited this video so you don't have to sit through any of it. But I'm going to go and change those numbers around back to 60 difference here, bring this all in. But I am going to try and speedily get through that.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Right, so I've just fixed it. The way I've gone about doing that is I've just gone and changed a few parameters around, mainly with the FR4 sheet and where the things sit. I've also moved the holes backwards on the tabs. I'm actually going to go and make them shorter, because if you could see in there, they were actually a bit longer than they should have been. So I changed it from 20 to maybe 15. That should help that. But obviously these are just round holes at the moment. And on the actual tabs, they're not round. They're like one bigger hole, and there's also 3 of them there too. But obviously we're not here for modeling it accurately. We're just trying to get the general idea and concept behind how to do this sort of thing. So I'm going to make that 15 again. There we go. Save that, and now it should look a lot better. So I think I'm going to edit all that out because there wasn't a whole lot of, in terms of modeling goes, a whole lot of content there for people to watch. But I did essentially just go around and change a lot of things that, like basically the distance between the thing I touched the most was the distance between these two, this step here, 120. So I was just playing with that a fair bit. I'm going to go and change the where that first pattern sits as well, because it is just a bit too close on that one side. So I'm going to bring that back 20, I think. Let's go 30. 30. And let's see if that evens it out a bit more. Yeah, and I'm going to change. Sorry, that's the wrong one. I'm just going to go in and change this extrusion here too. So instead of it being 30, it'll be 20 out there. There we go. Did I just change the same one I did too? Sorry, I'm going to change this. Oh, my goodness. This one. Yes, you. 50 to 40. Yes, looks about right. Yeah, and I think I want to push it all down and make this whole sheet wider as well. So instead of 150, I'm going to make that 170. I'm not sure how big it is in real life, but yeah, it just looked a bit too close at the start. So I'm going to just go in and change the first. So this spacing here is 15. I think I'm going to make that about 25. So I added 10 mil on that one, so I've got to add 10 mil on this one. That's the wrong one. In here, extrude 1, change that. So that's 6, and that's 16 now, which is a much better, as I was saying before, that spacing at the start was a little bit too close for comfort. It's still a little bit one-sided on the bottom there, but for what we're doing, that's fine. Obviously, normally you'd have some more calculations and what your sizing and stuff should be, but that doesn't matter too much for us. So we're just going to go in, close that. We don't need this open either, I don't think. Close that one, and this one here should be good. So we're going to just regen that. Make sure those holes line up. Yes, they do, which is good. Okay, so from here, the way these tabs sit is it'll go one on top, one on the bottom. In terms of how they're actually put together, I'd say it'd go. So this one's obviously on the bottom because it would go in first. The one that attaches, so you understand what I'm talking about, I'm just going to put in another cell. And it's going to say, where do you want your bottom? I'll say there. Where do you want your holes to line up? So this is the right side here, so I want it to be on these holes. 1 and 2. And see how that's just terrible at the moment? That's because there's actually 2 different cell types. So I'm going to have to go do that as well. But so one will flip the other way around. So see how these cells are all flipping this way. So there's actually 2 types of cells. There's that cell and there's an inverted cell. So there's kind of 2 ways to go about doing that. So I'm going to just close that. So instead of building a whole new one, I'm going to just be super lazy and I'm just going to mirror it. Hopefully that will work. Because normally I would just make a new part so I could save as a copy. You can otherwise just mirror it, and I think that'll make it work. It should make it work. The only issue here is finding the right plane to mirror it about. And obviously, as I said before, about when you mirror things in an assembly level, things start falling apart if you don't do them carefully. So it's better off. I think I'm gonna just go the right way and go make a new version of this because that's also a very important thing. So I'm just gonna go File, Manage File, make a copy. Manage Session, Manage File. here we go. Sorry, save as, save a copy. I'm gonna call it inverted cell. Let's go see cell, and we're just gonna go and save that. Every time I make a copy of something, I make sure I close everything. So I always worry that the save a copy cell is the one that's open. So this is the inverted cell. That's the other one. But just to be super safe, it doesn't take me long anyway. I'm just going to close everything down to make sure that I'm not writing on the wrong one. So I think I'm going to finish this tutorial up here. And I'm going to go ahead and assemble the rest of the cells here. Or I might show you the first one, or doing one of them at the end of the other tutorials. But at the moment, I'm just going to be stacking, just like I did on these tabs, left to right, left to right, left to right, continuously. So thanks for watching this one. We'll see you in the next one.